All right, we are back. I don't know if Nick is going to join me today. It might be me by myself, but we're diving into another coding session with Familiar. If you don't know what that is, basic pitch is that it's a OpenClaw-like agent that me and my business partner Nick are building that has a lot of the sort of sharp edges that come with OpenClaw smoothed off. Things like authenticating into email, authenticating into your calendar, a little less having to mess around with manual config stuff. But yeah, so tonight in this session, I'm going to be working through a couple of small refactors, and then starting to get my head wrapped around how we get this thing hooked up over OAuth. Yeah, so let's dive into it. So first thing I want to do is look into this section here. So the agent, right now we try to allow on the main, so the agent is able to do multiple threads of sessions. So there's a primary session that is the conversation with the user. There's a background session. We want to avoid the agent doing multiple processing multiple prompts at the same time within the same session. So we're in this file called the execution service. This is where we get the event. So this is typically like a user event, a user message that comes in that is a prompt of some kind to continue a conversation. And then the very first thing we do is we acquire this Postgres advisory lock to try to do this. So what I don't like about this is that we're using a framework called Adonis.js. It's sort of like a Rails style framework for the JavaScript and TypeScript ecosystem. They have their own ORM called Inertia, I want to say it's called. Maybe I might be getting that wrong. Let's see. Am I importing it in here? Maybe not. But anyways, they have an ORM that's built into it. But when we built this part of the agent loop, it drops down to connects, and then does these direct these like raw SQL statements in here. I just want to take a look and see if there's a way we can do this without dropping down to connects, just to keep things simple. So let's see what that looks like. So let's jump into Claude here. And let's say I want to look into refactoring the usage of connects to get the advisory lock in execution service. Let's see if there is an Adonis.js native way of doing this. Research this. Actually, wait, you know what's one thing before we dive into this, I just read something that actually, let's exit out of this first. What is in here? Oh, right. I gotta save this file real quick. This is a little exploration that I did about how to get these things to start writing code for people, and we'll dive into that another time. All right, so I want to make sure Claude was up to date and see that it had it. Because I saw they changed the default thinking budget. Right, effort, that's what I want. Let's set this to high. So that way, I was wondering why my usage wasn't getting used up as much as I thought it should be based on the stuff I was doing. But I read today, anybody watching, Anthropic in early March changed the default effort level to medium. And yeah, that's why like some of you may have noticed like a dive in sort of like the performance of Claude. But all right, let's dive back into this. So research the Adonis docs. All right. Of course. Of course. Should have thought of doing that. Should have thought of doing that before I jumped on live. All right. Thinking with high effort. I don't know why I'd ever want low effort. Lucid. That's the name of it. It's not inertia. Inertia is a different thing. Inertia is for front end stuff. And one person watching? Who's watching? I have one viewer. That's weird. Do you want to drop a comment? Show yourself. Interesting. This is a major finding. Very excited for you, Claude. Actually, come to think of it, I didn't really inspect this that closely. This seems like it would be a bad key because that's pretty ambiguous. If it was an agent ID of 12, and like how many other things that we might want to do advisory locks on. Hmm. All right. Let's see what this came up with. Here's what I found. Okay, Lucid does expose get advisory lock and release advisory lock on query client contract in the PG dialect, but implementation is unsafe for use case, so we should replace it. The current pattern of pinning a connection from the pool is actually the right approach for what we're doing. Okay. What Lucid offers. Okay. Dialect contract also supports advisory locks. Migrations use this internally. PG advisory lock unlock. Both methods call. Interesting. Release is unsafe. PG advisory lock only releases if it runs on the same backend that took the lock. In a pool with a minimum 2, will frequently land on a different pool connection, return false, and lock will leak until the connection that acquired it is physically closed by the pool reaper. Interesting. Okay. So I think what this is, if I understand this correctly, if you try to release the lock on a different connection, it'll just silently die or return false that it didn't do it, and then there's no good way to do it unless the connection that acquired the lock is the one that releases it. Okay. I agree that's not good. Migrations run short-lived. ACE process where the pool churn is minimal. The same physical connection happens to handle both calls. For a long-lived API server with concurrent requests, that assumption breaks. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Our apps use a default pool, so we'd hit this regularly. Yep. Lucid's only first-class way to pin a connection is DB transaction. So this is why we can't use a transaction either. So even if we were to use a transaction, every query on the TRX client goes to the same physical. You could write this, but this holds an idle Postgres transaction open for the entire LLM streaming duration, often many seconds, sometimes minutes. That's bad. It's bad. It blocks vacuum from cleaning up tuples newer than the transaction snapshot. Okay. It pins the X-min horizon and bloat across the database. Okay, trips idle in transaction monitoring alerts. Oh, okay. Yeah, so then we'll have just like a bunch of false open transactions that would mess up any monitoring we added for that. Right. Interesting. Okay. Run all the lock related queries on the pinned connection. Recent. Okay. Okay. Well, we could still clean up. Even though we can't move to a Lucid native API, the call site can be tidier. Two reasonable options. Extract a small advisory lock service helper, encapsulate the connects pool, fiddling behind a clean API. Okay, that's moderately good. The execution service can just as a yield with try lock do work. Unsafe connects as properly typed and tested. This is pure ergonomics win, no behavior change. Yep. Blocking variant. So a second concurrent request waits up to 30 seconds before erroring. If the intent is fail fast if another request is in flight, returns immediately with Boolean and is a better fit. This behavior change could be a separate decision. Okay, so if the goal is stop reaching into connects from a service file, option A gets you there cleanly without changing semantics or pulling in the broken Lucid API. I think the blocking versus try semantics are already correct because what we want is for anybody who's making a second request for a response from the LLM to wait until this turn is done. So I think that's correct. So let's make a plan for option A because that is an improvement. So that's over the implementation. The one other thing I want to look into was whether or not just agent ID is sufficient as a key for the advisory lock. If we ever have other, and this is maybe showing my ignorance on how advisory locks work in Postgres, if we ever have other needs for advisory lock in the application, could this introduce collisions if the only uniqueness guarantee we have is within the agents table? It just jumped into making the test. Didn't even explain that last question that I had. We'll see what it says. viewer on Twitch. Ugh. While we're doing this, let's look at what the other thing we're going to be working on today. So we're looking at the OAuth connection framework. Sure is taking its time. Is this doing anything? By the way. Nick taught me this little trick. You can okay. Thank you, I guess. Let me also check if just yeah, seems like everything's running. Anthropic side, we don't have an outage like we do every other day now. Oh, here we go. Finally came in. All right, let's see. Agent ID collision in question is real. Wow, I'm so smart. Thank you, Claude. Single big int feature advisory lock lives in the same key space as any other future call to the single big int form. If a future feature locks on user ID, conversation ID, they'll silently collide with agent locks whose IDs happen to match. The fix is to use the toInt form. So we have a namespace, we have a key. Great. The plan introduces a lock namespace enum, agent execution. Okay. Yep. Okay, I like that. That's not a bad approach. Plan structure, 4 tasks. Scaffold. We're gonna make a service for advisory lock. We're gonna define a lock namespace enum and a lock busy error. Oh, I like that. I like that we have an explicit error rather than just some random object that we're sending back on the error. That's great. Implement with lock, pin pool execution logic with the toInt form, plus test for happy path, release on throw, namespace isolation, contention, int32 validation. Okay, great. Add with lock generator and refactor execution service. Needed because execute is an async generator. Okay, okay, that's interesting. That's going to be more heavyweight than I thought. Can't buffer events to the end of the lock body without breaking live streaming. The lock plumbing moves out of. This might be bigger than I thought. Out of execution service, and the body splits into a thin execute wrapper and a private execute under lock generator. Functional contention test proves 2 concurrent execute calls for the same agent are serialized. Rollout caveat. Switching from single big int to toInt means old and new pods don't see each other's locks during a rolling deploy. The plan documents 2 mitigation options, drain then deploy versus 2-step migration that takes both locks during a bake period. I think that's probably fine. I mean, this isn't live anywhere, so I think this is only still blocking variant, still 30-second statement timeout, still the same agent busy event. Switching to fail fast messages explicitly out of scope, that's a separate decision. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Why keep 2 methods? Why we keep 2 methods? The generator variant is required for exiting a streaming path. The promise variant is a cleaner API for any future non-streaming caller. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I agree with that. That's not a bad idea. All right, let's take a quick look at the actual plan just to sanity check. Always check your inputs. Advisory lock service. Yep, this is what we talked about. Great. Let's look at actual implementation here. So, okay, so with lock. Yeah, okay, so then we do all that. Run the function, release, very straightforward, very simple. Uses the new to form. Hey, cool, we're not using, I love that. I love that we're not using string interpolation for that anymore. That's great. That is great. So this is the new version with lock. So this is the generator version of it. Yep, namespace, lock namespace. Specifies a key. Wait, does this other one do that too? Yeah, it does. Okay, good. Yep, and then this one we do a yield instead of just calling awaiting the function. Cool. All right. And then we sub it in here.
Wait, am I here?
Oh,
Wait, I'm confused.
did you
Can
just
you
let
see me?
yourself in?
Yeah, and I logged in with my Gmail, but then I just wrote a comment and it says you commented, which makes me think that I'm logged in as you somehow.
I think it's because those are my streams. And I think any messages that come from comments from here. Wait, how does that work?
Isn't that weird? Well, how was I just able to add myself?
I don't know.
I think I'm logged. I think StreamYard has a bug and I logged in as you.
Well, no, you're you.
Well, my
Wait,
picture is Nick, but like I can end the stream.
well, I think. Well, so hold on. Actually, one thing is I did upgrade to the. I did upgrade our StreamYard account, and I think, but I had set this up. So I'd set this up a long time ago,
Yeah.
and
The iambic days.
yeah, and I think I had you. Um, I think I had you on the account. So maybe you're already. Maybe now that I flipped the premium version back on, you have access to it right away. But I
Huh.
don't know. I don't know if that's
I'm
true.
sorry to interrupt you. I was digging what you were doing.
I was very surprised. I wasn't looking at the screen of people, and I just heard your voice pop into my ears. I was like, oh. Wait,
Don't let me distract you.
Did you change the layout, or did I change the layout?
I think I did because I have like god-like powers now.
Which one's better? Do we do this? This
I
feel
actually like this because then I can see your whole screen. When it's like this, sometimes it blocks your
yeah,
screen share.
that's true. Truth bomb. That one's. I don't like that as much. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with this. As long as it's legible for anybody
Yeah, it's legible.
following along at home.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going all right. I dove into a refactor that's going to take longer than I thought it was going to. So of course.
Tell me more.
It was just like one small thing that I noticed that I was like, this should be fast. This should be a fast thing to fix. Which is that I didn't like that we were like basically using so there's like Adonis.js has its own ORM called Lucid.
Yeah.
And then for this specific little piece of it, which is basically getting a lock so that the agent can only respond to one conversation at a time, drops down to connects, which is another database library, and uses raw SQL. It uses raw SQL to do it. And I was like, I don't like that. Let's see if we can refactor this. And then it turned into like pulling the thread of a sweater.
Right.
So that's what I'm working on now.
Nice.
And it just gave me the plan, and I was going back over the plan, and I think I'm good to go. I think I'm good to move forward on this.
Then just send it.
I'm just gonna send it.
making a little bit of chamomile tea over here.
Nice. Some sleepy time. Some
How
sleepy
was
time.
your How was your walk?
It was good.
Good.
It was good. Started noticing small things about, like, if you want to use a vehicle with wheels on the sidewalk, like say a stroller or a wheelchair, that my neighborhood's sidewalks are not great for that. So
Are they all like shallow rooted trees?
yeah, they're all, it's like, so it's just like a very wavy, broken sidewalk, which I was like, yeah, that's gonna suck for a stroller, but I'd imagine that sucks even more if you're like in a wheelchair.
Yeah. See, the move, my friend, is strap the baby to your chest, and then you're just like the super
Then it's like that's like a weighted vest on top of everything else.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I just started wearing a weighted vest.
I remember you told me that. Is
Great.
that
I mean, I haven't like noticed like rippling muscles or anything, but I find it strangely soothing.
Interesting. Like you're being hugged? Is it because of like the hug feeling around your body?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Huh. Have you ever tried to sleep with a weighted blanket?
No, and I've always wanted to.
I can't remember if I still have ours or if Pam already gave it away. So if you want, because we tried it and I can't do it. I don't know. It's just.
Oh, can I borrow it?
If I still have it, you can have it because we don't use it. But I think I can't remember if Pam gave it away or not. So I'll ask her.
No sweat. No promises while we're talking about swapping stuff, because Kendra might murder me. But we have we were given a nice air fryer that we don't have space for. And if we end up getting rid of it, if you don't have one.
I mean, I have the same problem of not having space for it. So yeah. You probably.
I prefaced it by saying you might murder me if I give it away.
Don't give it away, bro.
We just don't have space for it.
I use it almost every day.
But you yourself admitted that we don't have space for it. So the fact that you've used it every day doesn't.
It may or may not be permanent. I'll find, if you're gonna use it, I'd rather put it in the garage than.
Never mind, Jillian.
I mean, I wasn't so I wasn't gonna accept it either way because I don't have space for it. But so that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I figured out what's going on with this post comment thing that you ran into. I think I have 2 streaming destinations set up. One on Twitch and one on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think if you so you can select what destination you want it to go to, and it can't send messages to any of those except as me. Because they're my streaming destinations. Now, if we were to add a streaming destination for you, and then you could use the select destination button
and like swap between our accounts.
Swap between our accounts to be like, now I'm commenting as Nick. Now I'm commenting as Julian. This seems like a weird quirk of. I don't know. It is confusing though. It is confusing. Wait, I'm gonna turn this off because
just unrelated to anything. Actually, you know what? I could just not bug you with this question and just ask an LLM this question.
I mean, we're just waiting for this LLM to do its work anyways, so feel free.
I'm just trying to learn how these, I'm trying to go deeper under the hood here. That article you sent me, I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to read it.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to I don't know if you've seen this genre of live streams before, but there are live streams where people literally just like read and react to things. Do you want to do that? We could do that right now with that article, and you can ask questions.
Sure.
Do you want? I mean, you want to take over on sharing the screen while we're waiting for this to run, and we can
live
have a discussion about it.
Yeah, give me a second to pull it up.
It's also like, keep in mind, we're just kind of experimenting with what this is even supposed to be. Like, I still don't know what this is.
Yeah, should we invite people from our Telegram channel to come?
We can. Yeah, if you want to schedule, if you want to do like scheduled streams where we have guests, that'd be pretty dope. I think Bobby would be a fun live stream guest.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that any of the other people wouldn't. I'm just Bobby seems particularly well suited to this environment.
All right, so if I wanted to new scene demo scene 2. So let's say this is. So while you're going, oh wait a minute, no, delete scene, delete. Okay, new scene.
Yeah, because the other thing we could do is we could just add. Oh wait, is that how that works?
How do I add? Oh,
I think if you just hit the present button, and then we can remove my share from the screen. So like I'll take myself out of here since we're just waiting for this thing to run anyways. There we go.
So you're seeing this tab, right?
Yes.
And so if we want to switch back to you, we go here. Waka Waka. I'm getting a hang of this.
This is pretty fun, actually. Like, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty powerful. You can like just move stuff around. And we haven't even gotten into all the branding shit you can do with like graphics and fun stuff. Anyways.
So this article, how should we do this?
I don't know.
Not read it out loud, do we?
Could literally do that if you wanted to.
Going to the coding agent. In this article, I want to cover the overall design of coding agents and agent harnesses. What they are, how they work, how the different pieces fit together in practice. Readers of my Build a Large Language Model from Scratch and Build Large Reasoning Model from Scratch books often ask about agents. Okay. 6 of the main building blocks. Claude Code, Codex, and other coding agents. You're probably familiar with Claude Code. Sure am.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially agentic coding tools that wrap an LLM in an application layer, a so-called agentic harness. There's that word again, to be more convenient and better performing for coding tasks. Coding agents are engineered for software work. Okay. Repo, tool design. The distinction matters because when we talk about the coding capabilities of LLMs, people often collapse the model, the reasoning behavior, and the agent product into one thing. That's interesting. I do exactly that. Before getting into coding agent specifics, let me briefly provide a bit more context on the difference between the broader concepts. Okay. An LLM is the core next token model. A reasoning model is still in an LLM, but usually one that was trained and or prompted to spend more inference time compute on intermediate reasoning, verification, and search over candidate answers. So let me ask a question of you in real time.
Yep.
So my understanding of this and everything, as you know, everything I do, I look through the lens of product. An LLM is a word generator function.
Mm-hmm.
The reasoning models basically say, hey, LLM, we're going to allow you to like say extra words to yourself and to talk through problems, propose multiple possible answers, etc. And some user interfaces expose all of this. Some of them collapse it and you can like expand it and kind of see what's going on under the hood. Some of them hide it completely and it just takes longer for the answer to generate, but then theoretically the answer is a higher quality answer. Is that what they're talking about here?
Yeah, like I'd say roughly there's probably some nuance in there of like how that extra reasoning happens and how it's prompted to do the extra reasoning, but I think directionally that's correct. Yeah, like it's basically like the extra steps of like, you know, if you popped open the thinking window inside of Claude, you would say,
yeah,
like,
it's like
here are all the things it's saying to itself as it's reasoning through this.
Yeah, like a stream of consciousness or a chain of thought, right?
Yeah.
Or chain of thought, train of thought, both.
Well,
Anyway.
chain of thought, I think is what they were calling this like a year and a half
That's
ago.
clearly a riff on the idiom train of thought, right?
Yeah. I think so.
An agent is a layer on top, which can be understood as a control loop around the model. Typically, given a goal, the agent layer decides what to inspect next, which tools, etc. Roughly. Okay. Oops. Oh, look at this big old picture. Oh, you're not seeing the picture popped up.
No, I am. Oh, wait. The picture
No,
popped up.
It's popped up like full screen for me. Oh, it opened a new tab. Okay, that's funny. Okay, so interesting. The agent is the system that repeatedly calls the model inside an environment. And when it says more expensive to run, that just means you're giving it a greater token output budget to talk to itself, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why it gets more expensive.
Interesting. Okay, LLM's the raw model, reasoning model, an LLM optimized to output intermediate reasoning traces and to verify itself more. Agent, a loop that uses a model plus tools. That's helpful. Plus tools, memory, and environment feedback. Agent harness is the software scaffold around the agent that manages context. Interesting. So interesting. So like in the OpenClaw world, the agent can be like my agent Douglas, and the harness is OpenClaw.
Yes. You could probably roughly think of it that way.
And then the model is whatever model I'm pointing it to, like
Yeah.
Sonnet or Gemini or whatever.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Useful. And so agent harness and a coding harness.
I do have one piece of feedback for this description though, is that I actually don't understand the distinction that he's making. No, sorry, in that list right there. Agent, a loop that uses a model plus tools, memory, and environment feedback. Okay. I guess he's talking about the abstract concept of an agent versus the agent harness is the implementation of those things, I guess is how I think about it. Okay.
By the way, I just saw how long this is. There's no way we're going to get through this. So I'm going to abandon chip on that, but already very interesting. And is it fair to call the harness as basically the user experience for the agent and the model?
I actually don't know that I would say that, because the user experience can be, you can have the same harness with different user experiences built on top of them. Like you can have basically you can like Claude Code, you can have it as a TUI, you can have it as built into the Claude app that they have on for Mac OS. But functionally they're using the same agent harness.
Right.
With slightly different UX.
Interesting. What's going on back on your screen?
It's still churning through this.
So this refactor you're doing, is this a refactor of the memory stuff you were working on Friday?
No, it's a deeper in the weeds. Well, I mean, no, actually, no, it's deeper in the weeds than that. It's like it's part of the core agent loop. It's just it's just like a small thing that I noticed that I'm like, oh, this could be slightly better, and then it just.
And when you say slightly, just teach me. When you say slightly better, what do you mean by that? Like,
like this.
It could be cheaper. It could be more resilient.
Just better organized. More, and I guess more resilient to sort of like changes, because like it's like one concrete thing that I changed was. So these advisory locks, these locks that you have to pull out, right? You have to give it an ID of like what is the thing that is grabbing this lock, and so it was using just the agent ID before. So like the agent has an ID within our database. Now if you look at select PG advisory lock, the original version was only one parameter, meaning you could just give it an ID. But if we were to introduce locks for other things, you would potentially run into collisions with those IDs, right? So like an agent ID could have the same ID as like a message thread if we wanted to start locking, like using message thread locks for whatever reason. Like I'm just contriving an example. What this is introducing is the idea of a namespace for the keys. So like this would be like agent namespace, and then the agent ID would be the key for this lock. And so this is just making it so that it's more resilient. So more resilient to like if we were to do different types of locks for different purposes.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's just like I occasionally just go back over some of the code and I just see things. I'm just like, let's figure out if we can make this better.
I understand. I understand. Have you tried this new iOS browser everyone's talking about?
No.
It's called Quiche.
That's a fun name.
I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna send it to you right now. It's kind of interesting. It's like super fast, and it's super customizable.
But it's not like actually. It's still just a WebKit browser, right?
I believe so. Yes, but it's. I think it's doing some fancy shit under the hood to like kill or like manage JavaScript execution more tightly, so that
like
trackers and shit like that can't enter or search. Hold on. Enter or search. Wait, what? Search or enter?
By the way, can I gripe for just a second about the latest Safari? Like that, well, not latest. It's been around for like a couple months now, but like one of the things that drives me nuts about the UX in Safari that they changed when iOS 26 came out.
What?
That you have to tap twice to get to all your tabs now.
To tap twice to get to all your tabs. So
it used to be a single tap to get to all tabs.
So I'm in here. Wait. How do you even do it?
Like you hit.
Oh, that's so funny. I've for so long just been swiping up from the address bar.
Wait, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it's not very discoverable. That's why it's a bad user experience. But I was like, why does it take 2 taps? And I didn't even consciously realize what I was like, what is he talking about? And then I realized, oh yeah, I just swipe up from the address bar.
I mean, that's not bad. That's better than like, okay, I'm not as mad about it now, but like it used to be 1 button and then they moved it to under 2 buttons. So I assumed that was still the only way you could do it.
It's super undiscoverable.
Weird. Okay. Well, never mind. The
cornerstone of bad user experience is undiscoverable shit.
Although, like we've talked about this before, like Snapchat has famously undiscoverable UX, but that was part of its charm, and like people really love that for some reason.
I guess. Whoa, my phone just restarted. That was weird. That hasn't happened in a while.
Wait, it just restarted? Like just in the middle of you doing stuff?
Yep. Has not happened in a while. So if I want to just start a new Claude Code project, I need a repo first, don't I?
I mean, you don't have to have a repo. You can run Claude Code in just any directory you want. If you want to track changes, yeah, you need to have it in a repo.
I'm sorry, I meant yes, I can do that from Claude Code in the terminal. I was looking at I was just poking around in the Claude Code from the browser, and it needs like a cloud execution environment. So you can pick any repo you have on GitHub, and it'll like create a cloud container for it.
Oh,
But you can't like start, just like start a new conversation out of thin air and
Yeah.
like say, go plan this whole crazy thing. Also, have you been playing at all with Conductor?
What's Conductor?
Conductor is, I think, an agent harness. And its whole thing is that it uses your Claude code. Let me find it. What's the matter, Kendra?
Nothing. It's 4.
Here it is, Julian. I'm going to send it to you in the private chat. It's basically a harness. It's a Mac app. You connect it to Claude Code. And what it does, though, is you hook it up to any basically GitHub repo. And every tab on the left side is like what's it called? Its own work tree.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like its own isolated branch within that tab. And so you can have it simultaneously doing, non-colliding crazy shit completely isolated.
Wait, this is an interesting workflow thing that I'm curious about, because like I tried using work trees for the first time like a week or two ago, and it didn't work well. Like I forgot exactly what I ran into, but like what's your experience been with them?
It hasn't worked well for me yet either, but I have a hypothesis why. Most of the projects I've used it on are pretty early on in the life cycle of the project. Mm-hmm. And I think by its nature, early on in any project, you're kind of mucking around with kind of the entirety of the code base a lot. And so you get a lot of collisions and merge conflicts. Whereas for a mature code base to just say, I'm going to just go ham on this one corner of the code base, all day long. And then I'm going to spin up another work tree and go ham on this other part of the code base. And they're very rarely going to touch code. I could imagine some benefits there, but did you get a chance to look at my context window?
No, I haven't yet.
Would that be useful to what you're doing right now?
Not for this.
Or unrelated.
But it's unrelated. But I mean, we could do.
You don't have to do anything.
We could take a look at it. That'd be fun.
I'm just curious what you think. It's
Oh wait, did you do
Yeah, you want to talk about this?
Sure. I also had it. I had it. Hold on, let me open a pull request for the other thing I just worked on too, and then we can talk about that after. But then let's go back to yours real quick.
So why don't we do this just like this? How many dollars does she?
While you pull that up, Nelly, do you want any tea?
Yes, please.
Kendra, do you want any tea?
Yes, please. How many quarters does she have? 3.
Julian, if you talk, I can hear you. I'm just pouring some tea.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let's go through this. So, agent web access, headless browser, and content intelligence. Problem: familiars agents cannot reliably use the web. Sites actively block automated access, require extensive workarounds, or serve JavaScript and rendered content that HTTP requests can't reach. The gap between what a human can do with the browser and what an agent can do is so wide that it's a product level adoption blocker. Concrete failures. User needed her agent to search LinkedIn for a job hunt, completely blocked, even with her own credentials. User researching an engineering project wanted to search X and Reddit. X was completely blocked. Reddit only accessible after fighting through JSON API workarounds. Frequency of basic web access failure is jarringly high. With the human with a computer success rate versus the agent success rate is out of proportion, and it's hamstring adoption by mainstream users.
Before you continue, do you agree with that description of the problem?
Yeah, I do, because like we have had that before. Like we've talked about it, like especially with LinkedIn and like, the company that wants to automate sort of, job postings and reach out to to potential candidates. That they like, they don't want to, like, LinkedIn is so core to their business, like just so everybody's clear on like the risk. The risk is high that they would get their own LinkedIn account suspended, which would effectively, like, that would be existential for their business.
Yeah.
And they need in order for this to be useful to them, they need to be able to let the agent be an agent for them, then go out on the internet and do things.
Yep.
So yes, I agree with the framing that it's a necessary, like, this product is not meaningfully different from anything else without the agents being able to use the internet in a way that is not that is more useful than it is now. Browser infrastructure layer, anti-detection, JavaScript rendering, CAPTCHA, solving, proxy rotation, browsable is commodity. The space is crowded and mature. Browser-based Spiel, Bright Data, Hyperbrowser, Cloudflare, browser rendering, Light Panda, browser use. Browser use has 50,000 GitHub stars. Anti-detection is being won by infrastructure providers. Every AI agent company will eventually need this capability, but it's not where Familiar's differentiation lives. The access layer is browser. Was it BaaS? Browser as a service?
Browser as a service, yeah.
Browser base is the most current recommendation, most mature, blah, 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 blah. The choice is reversible. Abstraction layer should make it easy to swap providers. The intelligence layer is where Familiar is differentiated. 3 areas. Content extraction quality, turning rendered HTML into the right tokens for an agent context window, not just strip the HTML, but extract what matters for this agent and this user. A user researching React state management needs different content from the same page than a user evaluating companies for investment. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, cross-tenant content caching. If 100 agents all need today's New York Times front page, fetch it once. This maps directly to the existing 3-layer prompt caching architecture. Web content is a new cache tier that sits along prompt caching. I think this is true. Like, I think this is true, but less valuable than sort of like the logged in experience that we need for the agents to have.
Fair.
Tiered retrieval. Not every web fetch needs to dump 10,000 context tokens. The L0, L1, L2 pattern from the Open Viking evaluation applies. Scan many L0 abstracts, cheaply load L1 overviews for promising results. Deep read L2 content for only when needed. I think this is true, but like, again, it's sort of like contingent on the like private data being pulled from existing websites. Core capability: fetch, extract, cache. You ever seen that meme of Bear Grylls? Improvise, adapt, overcome. Like, that's how I read this.
Totally. That's because Bear Grylls really wrote this. This doc.
Web content service that wraps a. Oh yeah. Oh wow. We're like, yeah, we're not going to get through this. Oh wait, no. It's just this one file. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
It's not as long as I thought it was going to be. Web content service that wraps a browser as a service provider. Okay. Yep. Send the URL to browser as a service. Browser as a service renders JavaScript, handles anti-detection, returns HTML. Extract, run readability, JS, turn down. Yep. Cache, store the markdown in Postgres with the URL hash, TTL, access count, cache key is normalized URL. Unauthenticated content enters cross-tenant search cache. Okay, yeah. So you're saying that there's authenticated data and there's like a firewall between those two things. That makes sense. Agent tool, browse URL, returns extracted markdown, trim to token budget. Interesting. I'm curious about this one. Like, trim to token budget. Are we saying it's summarized to token budget, or are we saying it's literally just?
Well, that's an interesting question that I wanted to debate with you, because I could see it a lot of ways. But what I was just meditating on is that it's so obvious to me, at this stage at least, that increasing the signal to noise ratio of the content that you're not only that you're pulling for the user, but that you're injecting into the model is really valuable.
Yeah.
And case in point, Do you remember that one night a few weeks ago when I'm not going to drop names of our real users on a feed, but like, do you remember when one of our users asked if they could add grocery items to their Thrive Market order?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said, wait, let me try first before you do that. And it worked, but it like used $78 worth of like Sonnet credits, like trying to, I think like
Yeah.
fetch the entirety of Thrive Market and like build a custom coding tool to like log in or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was reflecting on that and thinking like how in some contexts the ratio of valuable tokens to the total possible tokens to represent the valuable tokens to both human and model is really, really out of whack.
Yeah.
And so what I meant here was not necessarily a summary, meaning in my mind, what I think what you said in my mind was you take a web page, it's an arbitrary amount of data, it's an arbitrary amount of stuff. You run it once through a model in order to generate a summary that's then useful for retrieval and caching later. And then a future use model can decide on the fly whether or not it needs to go recrawl or read the whole page or hold the whole DOM or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I was more thinking like in some use cases that in the same way that readability, for example, right, takes the noise of the markup and the code and whatever and converts it into like a simple human readable text thing.
Yeah.
That there was a similar function that could be useful for what we're doing.
Yeah, but I guess I can't imagine I guess I can't imagine a version of it that isn't because how are you supposed to trim out context without knowing what's important, right? Like,
Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for any given query, it might be different. Like the same web page could contain useful information relevant for two different queries, and you wouldn't want to cut out the piece of it that's important. So that's why it's like,
well, in that example that you just raised, then a summary would be the wrong course of action.
Well, not necessarily, right? Because you could say, give me a summary with the focus of answering this question based on the content that's in the page, right?
I see.
And so what's interesting there, what you could leverage is basically say like browse URL. You could do a browse URL that's just like give me the content to the page. That could be the dumb version, and then there could be browse URL with a prompt of like browse URL and tell me answer this question about what's in there. And then you could farm that out to a sub agent because you don't need like an Opus level model to be able to figure that out, right? You can say like, hey, Haiku, go answer this question about what's in this page, and then it'll give you back a structured answer, and then you're still using the same amount of tokens, but you're potentially like smoothing out the cost curve by saying like, okay, the really simple, if you need 20,000 tokens worth of context to answer this question, you're going to want to do it with the cheapest model possible, and then summarize it to like 100 tokens for the larger model for the important part of the answer.
Yeah, fair. There's also the interesting question of like, it's so anyway. I think maybe I'm getting too in the weeds on.
No, this is interesting. That's important
because like what I was about to say is like there are going to be so many different categories. Like I'm even think about the Hacker News homepage, which by definition is so constant. It's so ever updating that no cache of that would be very useful. And perhaps only a summary of like, hey, this is a ever update, right? Like 2 sentences, right? Like Hacker News is an ever updating series of upvoted articles, right? Like is the only real permanent context that's relevant about the Hacker News homepage. Then you've got an article. Okay, well, you go to an article, let's say it's a blog post, let's say it's a technical blog post. That's probably not going to change very much, right? So that's like a different thing where you might want the whole markup of the page, or you might just want the text content of the page, or you might want a summary of the text content of the page.
Actually, that's an interesting way to frame sort of like web search in the agentic era, right? Rather than like like you have it's sort of like going back to sort of the L0, L1, L2 model that we're talking about here, right? Which is that like maybe an entire domain has an L0 description, which is like, okay, I have a question, I'm looking for, I don't know, like I'm looking for things that are related to tech news, and then so it'll be like it'll pull up Hacker News, it'll pull up The Verge, it'll pull up all these different websites, and then you can do more targeted search on those individual pages, on those individual websites or domains, to see if you can find relevant content. That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just let's keep going on this doc. I think it's not ready for prime time, but I think there are a few similar mind.
Well, no, but it's going to need to be soon, because this is kind of an important piece of what we're trying to build.
Yeah.
Although, is the anticipation that we're going to build like the dumb version first, where it's just literally there's like a fetch URL tool.
Of course, this document is like a where could this go? Big strategy exploration. It is not intended to be a build all this now. And I believe from memory, although I haven't looked at this in a few days, there are a few suggestions of like where might we start? Like where's the thin edge of the wedge, as a colleague of ours used to say.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Is that Nellie's tea?
Yeah, but she's eating fast, so she said I can have it.
Oh, okay, great. Because there's more tea in the teapot.
There's also more food on your plate.
How's your shower? You took like a nice, long, relaxing shower.
I put this strain on, and I started washing my body. When I was done washing my body, it was like full, so I started like lying down and like getting all warm.
Okay, cool.
And then I just last year just thought about my family.
Oh, nice. All right, Julian, I'm back.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at. So I was just reading. So the two most painful. So this is what I was talking about. Is like this is probably the most valuable thing, is figuring out how to do authenticated versions of this.
Yeah.
And the auth model, like I was actually imagining the future auth model as being like what we wanted to go for, which is that the agent basically has a browser and a browser state that gets maybe it gets serialized and then rehydrated only when it needs to be used. But you're basically like you're kind of shrink wrapping a Chrome session, and then bringing it back whenever the agent needs it, and then they're still going to be logged in and be able to use all those things. This TOS and legal risk thing is interesting, because it's obviously going to be the hammer that these companies are going to use to try to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
But I don't see a way. I don't see a way to do it without like giving like. I imagine, so this sort of ties into the like sort of the identity piece of this, of just like the agents do have identities. Like they are not they're not impersonating people. They are their own thing.
Yeah.
They should have their own accounts on LinkedIn or X or whatever you want to be using. And they should be able to log in and behave as that type of, behave as their own entity. Yeah. The question is like, how painful is that going to make it to implement? Because I don't know.
I mean, I say we just send it, because my founder probability model is like 95% chance we never get to a stage that anyone even gives a shit. And in any of those, whatever the remainder of the percentage chances where people do give a shit, because our scale is so large, that if it's what users really want, the spirit of the terms of service of all these things are clearly because they don't want bad actors and bots posting spammy content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, it's obviously a gray area, and I'd be naive if I didn't assume that at any level of serious traction, we would get some interesting letters in the mail. But like, this is one of those things where it's like, I think we just have to let the users self-articulated, like, this would be valuable to me. Like, this is a not valuable tool to me if it doesn't do this, and it is a valuable tool to me if it does do this. And we let that guide us and hope that in whatever minuscule probability it is that like this ends up winning in some way, then what does history tell us? That like when you win, they retcon you into a hero, right? So, right, like Google search wouldn't exist in a world of today's terms of service.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's sad Google exists.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I wouldn't do it if I thought we were being harmful.
Yeah.
But we won't be. Content caching and token efficiency.
Yeah, cache table, web content cache, URL hash. No. Yeah, interesting. So there's like a shared cache. There's an interesting sort of there's an interesting security vector here, which is like, could you poison the like shared cache by asking your agent to fetch things, or I don't know. There's like an
what do you mean? I don't know if I'm understanding.
Like let's say we have a shared cache of web content that our agents are using to feed their context. Could you prompt inject an agent to put false information into the shared cache somehow that every other agent is going to retrieve and think, oh yeah, this is the true information because it came from our
right.
Like, well, the agent's not going to know any different because we're just feeding the context into the agent.
Right.
So I don't know. Just sorry. There's nothing specific to do here. It's just a thought that occurred to me. That's like, you could, like, if it's anything that ends up being shared context between multiple agents is an interesting place where you can wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Token budget, max 4K tokens per page in agent context for week 1. I don't know what that means. Like, you're saying like every page we should try to get every page under 4K of context of some kind.
Yeah,
like
it was a proposal.
Yeah. So the tiered extraction is interesting. That's something I hadn't thought about for like general web content as opposed to like memories and conversations that the agent has. It's always fun to find, like, you know, if you have an existing pattern, like, what does it look like when you apply it to other stuff?
Yeah, totally.
And like, this is interesting. The only thing that's, well, I guess it's true for like agent conversations too, is like, how fast does this extraction go stale, and how often do you have to run it in order for it to actually be useful? And I guess that's part of what this is describing here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is. Okay, so this is kind of what I was describing before, right? Wow, look at that. You thought of everything.
Hive mind. Well, it's part of the joy of the reveal, of the discovery.
Right. Okay. So then it does all this with the user's sort of preferences in mind, because you do have the. Actually, that's interesting, because like, so something I've been rounding up on, and this is something we will get into later when we start talking about the coding agent stuff that I was jumping into, and like, and something generally I've been thinking about is sort of like leveraging sub-agents to do a lot of this stuff. Is that, so your agent has all of your context. So it has like the sole document, it has the identity block, it has the config, it has all that stuff loaded into its context ahead of the conversation that you're currently having with it.
Yeah.
How I was imagining things happening is like, okay, if you want, so let's say we're using the web search, like we're doing a browse URL farmed out to a sub agent that does like, the dumb haiku, summarize this, maybe with a prompt, so you can try to answer the question of like what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess what I'm wondering about is like, does that agent need your context, or is it sort of like you're continuously distilling? You go from you ask sub agent prompt, answer this question for me. Your agent gets that answer and then applies your context to it to make it matter for you. Or does the sub agent have to know that and feed the answer back?
No, I don't think. My gut is that the sub agent doesn't need all the context. The sub agent just needs to instantiate for the narrow task of like hit this URL.
Yeah.
Either just hit it and you've got some global, browse URL prompt, right? That's like you do this, and this, you ignore ads, you whatever, right? Or you inject a little bit of what is the user maybe looking for, like, so maybe bias your search for this or your analysis for this. But then I think the output would then be served up for the primary agent that has all of the context later. That would be my instinct, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, that was my instinct too. I was just checking like to see is there any reason, but I guess it makes sense, like especially if it's public web information, and we wanted to maintain a cache, it would make sense to do it with like a generic agent that's handling it and sort of doing it widely, as opposed to like a specialized one that's for this individual user. Now, once you get to private information, then I think that's when that's different.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. This is fun. Proactive web monitoring skills.
So this is an interesting one too. It's definitely not an MVP, but this is like a change detector, right? Like, watch this website for me, and when a Nintendo Switch goes on sale, then notify me, right?
Yeah. So this is where like the generic thing would work, right? Like the generic sort of like shared stuff would help, is that like you don't need to specifically, so like you may have multiple people set crons for the same URL, but then the content itself could alert other ones early if there's something important that comes up, right? Like it's like, maybe you want your agent to check once a day at a minimum, but maybe we have 25 agents looking at that same URL at different times of the day, every day. And it might come back with information that's relevant to you, even if it wasn't on your schedule. And we could and then, if it matches that, we could wake your agent up and say, hey, we found this thing that's relevant to this task that you have.
Yeah, totally. Right. Like
that's hard. That's hard.
Watch for these tickets going on sale.
Yeah.
Is he dead yet?
I wonder who you're talking about.
No comment.
What? Okay, so that's an interesting one. Persistent authenticated session. Yeah, we talked about this. This is like, this to me is like sort of this to me is the most important piece. It's like this needs it. This is probably the biggest differentiator we could have.
Yep.
That's interesting. Okay, web research agent. And then this is sort of just like wrapping it up all together, right?
Yep.
And actually, I had like an interesting question about like I've been wanting to explore what this might look like, in our with everything else. Like, so I did an exploration on skills, which I can't remember if I shared that with you, if you read it, but it was sort of like figuring out do skills, how do you define a project? right? Like, because this is almost like, so when you talk about like a web research, like, and you
Yeah.
have the acting as a research director, it's almost like a project. And it's
Yeah.
like, do we have a distinct sort of first order object called a project that your agent needs to be on top of all the time? And is it on, again, is it ongoing? Is it like it'll finish at some point?
Yeah, I mean, a quote unquote project is one of those very squishy things that's super clear to a human in their own
Yeah.
mind. But then
Yeah.
when you actually try to say, like, all right, where are the edges of this concept? Like,
Yeah.
you'd be very hard pressed to actually rigorously define it.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that what we're describing when we do, like, when we're talking about web research? Is it a web research project? Is it a one-off thing? Is it an ongoing is it an ongoing research task? Show me results as they come up. Like what? Like, is this feature? Is this a feature or just like a capability? Like, I guess maybe is the way to
I'm
describe
not
it.
sure, actually, now that you put it that way, but I think the idea to me is like any topic or query for which it would be meaningfully useful to check more than one source, cross-reference them, fact check them, etc. Right? That workflow seems to me to be, it's made up of browse URL, search query, like whatever the other skills are, but it seems meaningfully unique to me. And whether or not it's part of a project is possible. I think it's possible. I do see them as distinct.
Mm-hmm.
I do see them as distinct. Go to Wirecutter and find me the link for the best bed sheet is just, that's a browse URL skill, right? Skill use versus, what are some good, what are some good tennis camps in Los Angeles, right? So for what it's worth. Again, everything's not crystal clear to me, and I think this is just an exercise in trying to map the terrain.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is interesting and fun. Yeah. And it's just like everything else that we've kind of sort of gone into in this project. It's like everything's a fractal. There's just like a million different little decisions inside of every little bit of this.
Yeah. Julian, do you think I'm too serious?
No.
I think I need to be sillier.
I've known you to be a pretty silly person to begin with, but
I think I need to ramp up the silliness at least 12%.
Okay. Everything okay? Where's this coming from?
I just want to be silly. It's like an aspiration in my life to be as silly as I can be.
Yeah. Same.
So no pressure, but that is just more or less just a doc.
Yeah.
And it's in the exploration directory.
It's a banger of a doc, and I want to work on it because it is probably like one of the more important pieces of this is just to make it useful for anybody.
Yeah.
I wonder. Wait, has any of these companies announced like you can use MCP with them yet, or anything? Like, because I know there's like developer tools are doing MCP everywhere. Like, it's LinkedIn or X said like, "Hey, here's an MCP."
I think I saw maybe X was talking about one, but not LinkedIn.
That's a bummer.
Let's see. They made an update yesterday to their API. Twitter did.
No, like to do this?
It's expensive. They're doing cost per API call. And Andre Carpathy replied and said, I used it for a project 2 weeks ago, and in about 30 minutes of hacking around, it cost me $200. The pricing is, in my opinion, really excessive.
That sounds right.
And then the head of X API responded to Andre Carpathy saying, this is great feedback. We've got more improvements that are coming. Are new tools like XMPC. Wait, okay, so here, I'll just send it to you in the private chat here. Apparently, when did this get released? 2 months ago. That's weird. Nobody's fucking talked about this.
It also has literally 2 commits and hasn't been touched for 2 months.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't trust it. It's a trap.
I mean, there's been weirder ways people have gotten credentials and stuff stolen. So
yeah.
Like, also, who released this? Is this the actual?
I think so.
Do they have a checkmark system on GitHub? No, they don't, right?
I do not believe they do.
So we have no idea if this is actually. Well, I mean, I guess.
You look at their other projects.
XSDK. I don't know. I can't tell. I can't tell for sure. Oh, this really took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take.
This refactor?
Yeah. Like, this has just been running for 45 minutes now.
Oh yeah, I see that the counter. I'm so nervous to try fast mode because it's more expensive.
What's fast? Like, how much more expensive is fast mode?
It's like, it can be up to like, they give you a range of somewhere between $5 and $150 per million tokens, more expensive.
Wait, what?
Yeah. But apparently it's fast.
Between 5 and 50 times more expensive?
Yeah.
That's too wide.
No, I'm sorry. Between $5 and $150 per million tokens, which is still a lot. Which is still a lot of money.
But still, yeah, that's like. That's still what I think the regular pricing is like. I think it's, what is it, $5 in and like $12 out per million tokens or something like that.
Yeah. Body text strip HTML.
I'm excited to get into this and see.
Get into what?
Your
action card? Yeah. Well, I hope it's good. I'm high stakes now.
I'm sure it's great.
I'm sure
it's fantastic.
Whizzing in my pants.
I don't
use the term whizzing often enough. Kind of fun. It sounds real weird, real wrong.
Oh, interesting. Is this? I'm assuming all of this complex, like shadow stuff in here is part of.
Yeah,
the animation stuff that you had to do to get this to work.
No, I mean, yes, those are just my fancy pants, like nuanced things, like my fancy shadows and stuff. At some point, I need to like systematize this, and like that should become a named variable. Like, I'll get to it later, but that's
okay.
Yeah.
To be clear, I wasn't admonishing it or anything.
You should. You should. I mean, this was the first time I used a CSS multiply blend mode in order to get the metadata component that shows the like context window to like look gorgeous with the moving blob. And if none of that made sense to you, I wouldn't fault you.
It did not.
I could give you a demo sometime. It just thing make component pretty. But it was good. I'm learning lots of new stuff.
Nope.
What is that? I don't remember what Noop was.
It's probably just a do nothing, because this is in the dev action card thing. It's probably just to give a handler nothing to do when you click it.
Yeah, I did not write Noop. That was something my friend Claude wrote.
Nope. Well, it means no op, but you know.
Oh, so that is a term.
That is a thing. Yeah, no op, no operation. That's a term.
There it is. Sure,
it's just
to say Noop. There it is. Am I the last person on earth? Was that joke like made 25 years ago?
Yeah, it's the first I've ever heard it. So
Nope, there it is. If there isn't a T-shirt of this already in the world, we got to make one.
It's a very obscure joke.
I'm not seeing any T-shirts. Is this how we fund ourselves? We just live stream our conversations.
Yeah,
make T-shirts of the funny parts.
Yeah, I don't see.
Well, we got to start by getting some people to watch the live stream first.
That's true. There's one person who's been watching this whole time. Was that you? Have you been on Discord in a different window watching this whole time?
No, it's you. It says Javer Held de Dios.
Wait, how? I'm not.
Scroll over the eyeball icon on our window.
No, and I think that's live viewers on from that account.
It's not me.
So I don't know who's watching us right now. Hi.
Can they comment?
Oh, there. Somebody actually did comment. I think it's just spam.
Yeah, it looks like spam.
It's just spam.
Top viewer streamboo.org. Yeah, spam. God damn it.
No, don't do that. Nobody click that. It's spam. Can I can you manage comments from in here?
What do you mean manage comments from in here?
Like, can I censor this comment? Can I remove it?
I don't think ghosting you can. I think you got to go into the actual.
Lame.
Although you can command click on that file name, and it'll open that file. Like if you hover over a file name.
In where?
Anywhere. Well, if you see a.
In here?
Yeah. Like, do you see a file name?
No. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the comment that says streamboo.org.
Oh, in StreamYard. Oh,
yeah, in StreamYard. I'm trying to see if I could, like, can I moderate these comments or no?
No. I just promoted it.
No, don't promote. Don't promote the spam comments.
Oh my god, this is fun. Oh, we've got so many viewers. Look, someone said hello, and then someone said top viewers streamboo.org. Oh my god.
Remove the space. Don't forget, remove the space. That's what it says in the comment.
I love that. You can't forget that. You gotta remove the space.
Oh my god.
By the way, I'm playing around with Conductor right now, seeing if it can build this email wiki thing.
Oh, the thing that you were talking about earlier today?
Uh-huh. I've got it running in Conductor right now.
Cool. Has it?
I mean, it's just coding something. I don't know. It's plugged into Cloud Code and just doing something. We'll see.
It's times like this that I like. This session has made me want to spin up a container to just turn on dangerously skip permissions.
Oh yeah.
This is taking forever, and I just kind of wanted to like let it run in the background and then do a different feature.
You don't want to dangerously skip permissions, do you?
Inside of a container, sure. It's not on my machine.
No, I'm kidding.
You wouldn't dangerously skip permissions, would you? All right, great pull request. Finally. I also wonder, like, so I switched. So I don't know if you saw there's a post on Hacker News today that was complaining that like performance of Claude Code like took a nosedive in the last month, and then
I saw someone mention something. Like that.
But like what's his name, Boris Cherny came on and said like actually what happened was we defaulted everybody to medium thinking mode or the medium thinking effort, and then so I was like, oh, let me try turning it back on to hard or high thinking effort. And I think that's part of why this is going so slow now. But it is being a lot more methodical than it was like the last few runs I did. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm debating, did I want this to be fast? Do I want this to go faster or do I want this to be more correct? I guess is the eternal struggle. Whew. All right. All right, let's take a look at the final PR here. Huh. Yeah, this is all right.
This is the PR you just created?
Yeah.
You're just gonna send it?
It looks good. It looks good.
Do it, bro.
It did what I wanted it to do, but it took forever. But I guess I'd rather have it be right than go really fast and be wrong. All right, looks good. Let's send it. All right. I think I need a break. That took a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if I dive into the next thing, it's probably gonna take another 2 hours. So
yeah. All right, man. Good to see you.
Another fun stream. Let's do it again tomorrow. Why not?
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.